I said morning in my head, but not out of my mouth, so I get credit. Alrighty. You know, one of the funny things is Christmas Eve is basically about child labor and childbirth. So, of course, you put the 44-year-old male up here to tell you about it. My name is Dylan. I'm lucky enough to be a part of the lead team here at Restore and lucky enough to tell you about said child labor and childbirth. But I do have some experience, not in the painful stuff. I don't have that. That was all my wife. Though she will tell you her epidural with our eldest, I was the one that had to run to the bathroom on that one. You wake up and see somebody getting an epidural. That's a thing. But as you look at that, I still had things of, we're going through all the emotions of thinking back to what it was like when you were getting ready for your first kid. When you were getting ready to try to figure out what you were going to do with this human. And I don't know about you, just shout it out. What was the emotion that was going through your head, maybe as you were going to the doctor, going to the hospital, coming home from the hospital? What was an emotion going on? Fear. Tired, fear. I was shocked they were going to let me drive home. We lived in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, and Ian was born in Iowa City. It's like 43 miles. The LeSabre, very big. The baby, very small. The car seat, impossible to put in. I've worked for NASA in the past, but at that time did not have my aeronautics degree. But you look at that, like all the anxiety of everything comes out into that moment. As the comedian Nate Bargatze says, is like the firstborn is always that child that shows up too early. Parents don't have money, don't know what they're doing, and don't seem prepared for them, right? I think a lot of us can experience that, and you just get this first kid, and you're just wigged out. You don't know how you're going to make it. And for me, from the dad perspective, this may sound dumb to the ladies, but most dads I talk to, this makes perfect sense. Because the pregnancy is 9 months, you get so used to the idea that a baby is coming, but you're not actually processing it within your own body, that when the baby does show up, it's almost a shock because you've been waiting for so long, and all of a sudden that baby is there. And it's all these emotions that come out, and then you get that child, and you're supposed to raise it in a way that they're going to live a life worthy of what they were created to be. That you were going to be the parent you were created to be. And then within about a nanosecond, you mess up. It's all out the window. You're not very good at it. They're probably pretty good at being a baby. I don't remember the rules on that one. But as a parent, you're like, I don't know. I can't even go the minimum speed home. 45 seemed too fast. Just click on the kilometers per hour so you feel better about yourself. But as you look at that and you're just going through all of it, you don't know what to do. And I don't know about you, but when you get into that place where there's despair, anxiety, fear, but joy. There is joy in there, excitement in there, happiness in there, this feeling you can't actually describe because you don't know what it is, but it's that love, fear, hope, happiness, anxiety, joy, peace, all mixed up into like this Hawaiian punch inside of you feeling. But then there's also this thing is like, I need help. I desperately need help. I desperately need something to cling on to. And we know that many times parents, you'll have people come and stay with you for a little while to just help you in the beginning. But there comes that moment where the help leaves. And all that remains is maybe some word of advice, some hope, some promise, some just good old-fashioned advice. And as I was thinking through this and thinking through my own experience of what it's to be a dad, and now walking into the last year of us having our eldest at home, living in our home when it's coming to Christmas. We turn into Ronuses and need family to come back at Christmas. Good job, guys, showing back up. Ian, take note. But you're going to these different stages. And for me, the best promises, the best words of hope come out of the darkest places. They come out of the broken places where hope really matters, where promises really matter. And there is a verse in the book of Lamentations. We're here to party, folks. We're going in the book of Lamentations. Lament, all the negative stuff. But you know what happens in those hard books? Hope, signs of hope, and promises. Lamentations is written as everything's gone to crap, basically. The temple that represented God was destroyed. Politically, militarily, the whole country was in ruins. People were brokenhearted. People were confused. People couldn't see which way was up. They were filled with anxiety. They were filled with despair. They were like driving a LeSabre back to Mount Pleasant times about 5 million. And these beautiful words, this beautiful promise came out of absolute sheer brokenness and chaos. It's Lamentations 3:22 through 24. The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh each morning. I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance, therefore I will hope in him. Everything is broken. The chaos seems to surround, and you may find that in your own life right now, and it may be in the small things, like there's so much cotton picking, wrapping paper everywhere. Can people just put it away, right? It can be a Christmas wrapping paper chaos that you have. Or it can be a financial chaos you can have. It can be a relational brokenness. It can be this is your first time home without your kids or without a loved one. Or you haven't been able to have that kid that you want. Or you haven't been able to mend a relationship you want. Or it may just be you're not sure what you're doing right now. Life is just an unknown. And you have all of those things in it. But there's this incredible promise that God will pierce through in those broken places. And you know what I love about God? One good promise is never enough. One promise in a broken space is never enough. Why? Because God is not a God that keeps things broken. God is not a God that ends the story in broken places. God is the God that steps into broken places and creates the beautiful on the other side. So he's not done with promises. Lamentations, a broken city, broken country, broken people, despair, hopelessness was not the final part of that story. No, God kept telling promises. God kept speaking promises. Now, he wasn't going to talk to a young couple with a LeSabre. They'd have a donkey. Some would say that looks a little bit cooler than a LeSabre. But the promises kept coming. And he was going to tell of the architect that rebuilds broken things into beautiful mansions. The architect that knows the design, but somehow, through despair, brokenness, and chaos, can somehow take those marred pieces, those burnt pieces, those broken pieces, and somehow mend it into something more beautiful than you could ever imagine. And he starts to tell these promises. And he tells them through Isaiah often. Isaiah 7:14. All right, then the Lord himself will give you the sign. Look, the virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son and will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. There's a promise, and it's a personal promise because it's a person. Then in Isaiah, a little bit later, Isaiah's just getting a lot of these promises he's sharing with the people. And it says, "For a child is born to us, a son is given to us. The government will rest on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His government and his peace will never end. His rule with fairness and justice from the throne of the ancestor David for all eternity. The passionate commitment of the Lords of heaven's armies will make this happen." All the chaos and brokenness and Nebuchadnezzar destroying everything, the promise is it's a different group coming to be in charge. It's a different leadership, and it's not done top-down power. It's done with justice and fairness. It's benevolence and hope. It's thinking of it's being in a position to be able to pull people up for their best and doing it selflessly for their benefit. And then Micah 5:2. "But you, O Bethlehem, Ephrathah, you only a small village among all the people of Judah, yet a ruler of Israel whose origins are in the distant past will come from you on my behalf." And he is going to fulfill some promises through some unlikely people. He is going to fulfill some promises from people with some weird zip codes, some weird home addresses. They're going to be apartment 119B. It's not just about what's on the hill. They're going to come from everywhere. And these are the promises. These are not top down. These are not executive level promises. They have more power, but they're for more people. This is the promises that God is just telling us as chaos goes, wherever you're at, these promises keep coming. And they keep telling of a brighter future. And this is what I love about God. We all know used car salesmen that can tell us things will get better. And when you get to the end, they're going to tell you a different story. Well, when it comes time for the promise to be fulfilled, we run into Luke 2:6 and 7. "And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. She gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him snugly in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger because there was no lodging available for them." The promise came. And the beautiful thing about this promise is about who got to witness the promise. The people that this story impacts, we're not going to go into all of it. I encourage you, if you have a chance, to read through Luke 2, Matthew, the Gospels say all these, the real full story, that you can get all the facts with it. But when you look at this child, who is this child a promise? Who is he fulfilling? Who is he fulfilling that promise for? Who does he represent hope for? Who does he represent a promise to when things aren't what they seem or what they need to be? See, the promise is for the people, for the scared parents. Oh man, we were scared. I can't think what Joseph and Mary were. Like, we were in our 20s. They didn't get there yet. You know, we were married, and that ceremony was celebrated. They hadn't been married yet, so people let them know it and talked behind their back. They were broke, we were broke, so we shared on that one. But that promise was for those scared parents. And they had to go out and become refugees to Egypt very quickly after this. There were a family on the travel because the government wanted to kill them. But yet they had this promise. Those scared parents, even through his young ages, were there. That promise was for them. The promise was for the working class, for the blue-collar 9-to-5 people, the shepherds. Because again, this was a community that was not under their own rule. These are people not looked highly upon. These are people wondering, are they going to be able to continue to sustain their way of living? Are they going to be people that God is going to remember? Because the other thing that we have to know, God really hadn't spoken this clearly in 400 years. They're talking back to people in the 1600s, right? This is Plymouth Rock distance of time. That's how long it had been since God had talked. And now this promise is coming out to the shepherd, just hanging out doing his job, but it's also for the scientists. Hundreds upon hundreds of miles away, looking at the sky, charting out this promise, and God spoke to people not really even from a religious background, but a scientific background. A promise came in the sky. It was for them. My goodness. And that promise came to the devoted, the Anna and Simeon in the temple, the people that had read the scripture. They wanted so much. They were the loyal, here, faithful, the people you go to get prayed for, the people that you want spiritual advice from. The promise came to them. But it also came to the forgotten. It came to those on the outskirts, those that didn't know if faith was for them or if God had forgotten them. And here's this small kid, small baby, no room, had to make up a way to find a space just to give birth to this kid. And the promise was for the forgotten, the outcast, those sleeping in a barn. And it was for the successful. It was for those that had everything on the outside, but needed something real on the inside. This is the promise. That it all comes there. And I'm going to invite my guy Trey up here. And he's going to remind us of that promise that was written in the book of Lamentations.
The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercy never ceases. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh each morning. I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance. Therefore I will hope in him.
Thank you, Trey. And just like driving home a LeSabre all those years ago, thinking of this verse is as real today as it was hundreds and thousands of years ago. This promise is as true today as it was at any point in human history. At the night that Mary and Joseph were getting ready to bring their firstborn into the world, with excitement, with anticipation, with anxiety, with fear, that promise was just as true then. So I want us to focus in. Lamentations is there are new mercies afresh each morning. Tomorrow morning, it's crazy because more than half of kids are all born in the a.m. Well over 60% of them are born before 6 a.m. Is as your kids get up very, very early tomorrow, your grandkids, me, whoever, I love Christmas. As you get up, this is the new morning that Lamentations was talking about. The celebration of the birth of Christ. As you wake up tomorrow morning, it is put in stone forever because of the birth of Christ, that as you wake up in the morning, you have a new opportunity for new mercies. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What new mercy do you need tomorrow morning? As you open the stocking, as you open the present, as you think through, read the story, don't read the story, get cinnamon rolls, I don't know what you do. Go to work, all those things. That's right, Cambia. Lots of different things we can do. But know, as you wake up, this is at your fingertips. You have a chance to grab a hold of that new mercy you need. Amen? So as we go into this song, this will be no spoilers. It's going to be silent night, folks. We just encourage you, we're given a candle on the way in. It's a very short song, so we're going to just have you do it now. And it's always nice when you can touch candles and stuff, but it's a short song. So we're going to have you turn on your candle. We'll bring down the lights. And at the conclusion of the song, this will be your time. That will be your post greeting to go on. Merry Christmas. Drop off the candle where you got it on the back. There'll be a basket there. Grab a cookie, whatever you need. Talk out in the lobby. But know that we are so appreciative that you chose to worship with us tonight, knowing we don't worship next Sunday, but starting the first Sunday of January, we're at 10 o'clock because that's when Jesus had church. Amen.